Conference will now be recorded.
Bear with me here. I don't have Jennifer here to navigate the presentation, so I appreciate everyone's patience as I navigate through our slides here. Give me one sec.
We have two Nancys, so is that Nancy Waters? No?
I'm now in the presentation,
Yeah,
so I'm not
Nancy.
able to see names anymore.
So we have everybody who said they were coming. Linda said she might call in on the phone, right?
Actually, I don't believe she's going to be able to make it. I believe she's in.
So we're all here.
Okay, fantastic. So I will just thank first the board members for on relatively short notice here joining for a special meeting. We have a very short agenda that we have posted via the Village's blast email system and on our website. The first matter for the board's attention is a contract authorization for lobbying services with Tabato LLC, specifically their lobbyist, Richard Tabato, to represent the village's interests as it relates to state level legislation. The agreement, which in draft form has been circulated prior to the meeting to the board, references what would be a monthly cost at $5,000 a month for an anticipated total of $15,000 for the remainder of the current state legislative session. And the proposed agreement would give us the opportunity to end the agreement in any month of that legislation as the board may deem appropriate. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to board member Lou Morsberger, who can provide more of a background on the effort here for lobbying services agreement.
Yeah, sure, and we're very grateful to Lou for putting this all together. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you all. The issue of course, is coming at us relatively quickly as the General Assembly is in session for the next 3 months, and they are looking at a couple of different bills that that have the support of the governor. In particular, the Starter and Silver Homes Act, which would change local authority over permitting, including allowing 3-unit dwellings to be considered single family, as well as dramatically changing the lot sizes for single family homes and also setbacks. So we've been meeting with Mr. Tabato, as has Somerset, and we feel that those of us who were on a call with him yesterday were very favorably impressed, and felt that A, he's up to speed, can represent the village with the in Annapolis very quickly and very effectively. And as well, he's already working with Somerset, and he's already also talking with Section 5. Our deal is very similar to the deal that he has with Somerset already. So we would expect that economically we're getting a very fair deal. And at the same time, it's not clear that there are any other lobbyists who are as well positioned to act quickly for us and for neighboring municipalities in this matter. So having read his letter and looking for others' thoughts as well, but having read his draft agreement and what he's proposing to do for us, I think $5,000 a month, ultimately $15,000 if we use him for all 3 months of the General Assembly, is really quite a good deal. And the fact that he is able to move so quickly argues that we should jump right in with him relatively quickly ourselves.
That's how I felt on the call yesterday. Does anyone have questions about this?
No, I think, knowing the market down there, it's a little outdated, but this is very reasonable. And I think leveraging off of our neighboring jurisdiction makes sense. And obviously, we got to be concerned with, what's being considered down there. So I'm in support of it.
I was on the call yesterday, and I agree with everything. I have to say that I move to authorize the village manager to enter into an agreement with Tabto LLC for lobbying services during the 2026 legislative session as drafted.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so that's unanimous. We can move on to thing 2.
Great, thank you, everyone. The next matter is for the board to authorize being listed as a co-signer on a joint municipal letter addressed to our delegation regarding the state legislation, House Bill 239 and Senate Bill 36, otherwise being referred to as the Starter and Silver Homes Act of 2026. This is housing legislation that has been introduced at the governor's request. And I, again, will turn it over to Mr. Morseberger to provide more of a background on the draft letter, which was pre-circulated to the board prior to the meeting.
Thanks. The town of Chevy Chase and Mayor Barney Rush have done just a commendable job of helping neighboring municipalities get organized. Is convened, and Mayor Rush has drafted and done a couple of iterations on that draft, incorporating feedback from the various municipalities, including a lot of feedback from the village. And that letter, the first draft in draft form, was shared with the Maryland Municipal League in the last 2 days to prompt the discussion with MML over how they will respond to this legislation. But what we'd be voting on right now is accepting the current draft as final, that it can be shared, including the village's name as endorsing it, that it can be shared with our delegates to Annapolis. It's time sensitive in that every day counts. I get that Mayor Rush is eager even to get this letter finalized today, because for our delegates who've been, whether they're physically in Annapolis this week, I'm not sure, but they're pretty actively engaged right now. So getting them this letter, whether it's a Friday evening or a Saturday morning, every day counts to letting them know what our position is on this legislation, and that we're eager to engage with our delegates on this matter, and that we have a fairly strong opinions on the matter. The letter does a really good job of reiterating both that at the county level, municipalities and county officials expended enormous effort over the last 18 months to arrive at the Workforce Housing Now program, which allows development, multifamily development, especially along the corridors, Wisconsin Avenue and Connecticut Avenue, for Chevy Chase purposes. And so an enormous amount of effort was put into that legislation at the county level. And in parallel at the Maryland level, there was, everybody okay on the sound?
Yeah.
A lot of effort was expended to have the legislature draft a bill ultimately signed by the governor that reaffirmed local permitting and zoning authority, zoning in some jurisdictions, that would cover multifamily dwellings of 4 units or fewer. So all of the effort that was expended at the county and state levels last year is potentially upended by the legislation now pending in Annapolis. And Mayor Rush's letter does a good job of pointing out the effort that was put in last year, the principle of local control over a lot of these issues, reaffirmed by the governor himself, and at the same time pointing out the specific issues that have us particularly concerned with the Starter and Silver Homes Act, such as setbacks, such as single family now being defined to include 3-unit dwellings. So we're not taking a position on the bill outright. We're not saying we're absolutely opposed, but we are raising concerns. And along with our neighboring municipalities, we're suggesting that we're eager to engage with our state delegates and other agencies at the county and state level as well to find some better solution to what I think everyone acknowledges is a statewide and Montgomery County-wide issue of a housing shortage. So with that, this is the latest draft. If we approve it, it would go to our delegates over the next probably 24 to 48 hours.
Yeah, I think it's a very common sense, well-written letter. And I thank you all who worked on it so quickly.
And if I may just note for the members of the public that we have attending the meeting, the final letter, once it has been approved by the numerous jurisdictions, I believe there's a total of 12 who are potential signers onto the letter. But once that is finalized, we will post this on our website to make it available so that residents can see it. And then at the board's February 9th meeting, we will have a presentation from the village's zoning attorney regarding the bill and its potential impacts on the village, and to talk more about our proposed plan of action in response to the bill. So I just want to flag, I know for the purposes of this special meeting, we're not going into a lot of detail about the actual content of the bill, but to tell residents that to please stay tuned and attend the February 9 regular Board of Managers meeting for more information about the bill's specific impacts.
Yeah, and it's a special meeting because we have this time constraint.
Right.
Wanting to give them our okay today.
Mm-hmm.
Do any questions from the board? Comments?
I move to authorize the village to be listed as a co-signer on the joint municipal letter regarding HR 239 SB 36 as drafted.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, so we are unanimous on that front. And then the next thing is snow concrete.
Yeah.
Snow.
Snowcrete, as it's being not so fondly referred to. So we just wanted to take the opportunity, since the board was having this special meeting this afternoon, and we are continuing our emergency response to last weekend's winter storm, to take this opportunity to provide an update. As the board is aware, I have been keeping the board up to date on our winter storm efforts and response throughout the week, but this is just an opportunity to also get into a little bit more detail than our blast emails afford us for updating the community. So we are almost at 1 week from the start of this winter storm, and this certainly has been a very, very unique winter storm event for us. We certainly are equipped and prepared to deal with snow and with ice, but the specific combination of those two elements for this particular storm has proved especially challenging. And so we have dedicated our resources as systematically as possible, and I'll give you all just kind of an overview of what that process has looked like. So certainly during the storm itself, and in the immediate aftermath of the storm, our priority was making roadways accessible and passable. And so that was our first priority. And of course, keeping the sidewalks around the village hall, which serves not only as a warming and charging center if residents were to have lost power, but also for the 24/7 essential personnel that we had on duty. We also were keeping up with the sidewalks here around the village hall. Once we felt sufficiently that roadways were passable, we did then redirect the crews to focusing on sidewalk clearing operations. And so they've been principally doing that work since Wednesday. And that has included getting the northernmost portion of the buffer walkway open from Belmont down to the entrance to the shopping center at Montgomery Street, as well as getting the sidewalk along the west side of Connecticut Avenue open so that at least we have one side of the avenue that is accessible for pedestrians, given the high volume of pedestrian traffic that we see on Connecticut Avenue. Today, we were able to bring in additional contract resources. Those resources had not been available prior in the week in spite of strenuous efforts on our part to bring in additional support. That support was not available to us until today. And so we actually had two separate contract crews that we brought in. One crew that was focused on getting the remainder of the west span of sidewalk along Connecticut Avenue opened. And my understanding from our Director of Public Works just within 15 minutes of the start of this meeting is that they have now been able to finish that span along the west side. And we had a separate crew that was focused on getting the section of sidewalk that we are responsible for maintaining along Wisconsin Avenue opened. And that, of course, is in anticipation that Montgomery County Public Schools will likely resume operations on Monday. And we wanted to ensure that that was open for our residents who need to access Somerset Elementary School. What has fallen to kind of our third priority bucket is opening the remainder of the buffer and then turning to Western Grove Park. We have two crews who will be in here working tomorrow, who will be tackling the remainder of the buffer, as well as getting at least one path access from Grove Street down to the main entrance on Western Avenue for Western Grove Park. We may not be able to get all of the sidewalks, all of the paths within Western Grove Park, but we did want to at least get one passage from Grove down to Western Avenue opened. And so it'll likely be the westernmost span of walkway that they will be clearing. The most challenging section of sidewalk for us is Brookville Road. Because of the nature of that sidewalk, it is right against the roadway, only separated by the timber raised curb. There is no area inside the sidewalk to place any snow or ice because of the privacy fences that run along that sidewalk. So at this point, we do not anticipate that we will be able to clear the Brookville Road sidewalk until we have had some significant melting of the ice. Given the current forecast, it does not look like that will be within the next week. We will continue to monitor the condition of the compacted snow and ice, as well as the temperatures, in hopes that we can make some progress over there. But I want to be transparent and forthright that we do not anticipate that we will be able to get the Brookville Road sidewalk cleared anytime soon. It's just not possible given the current conditions and given the amount of snow that was placed on the sidewalk from Brookville Road by the state plows that plow along Brookville Road. So when our public works crews are going to take a couple of days off. They have been working every single day since last Saturday evening. And so we need to give our crews a break. This has been very intensive labor that our guys have had to put in every single day now for repeated days in a row. We need to give them a break. That's why we've brought in these contract crews to supplement our staff's efforts here over the weekend. But starting on Monday, when our public works employees return, their primary focus will be opening up the ADA ramps throughout the village and focusing on getting the span of sidewalk on the east side of Connecticut Avenue open to pedestrian traffic. That will be our focus to start next week. We'll have a better estimate for when those areas will be completed once the crews get back in here on Monday and begin that work. But I just wanted to give everyone a sense for what our plan of action is and what our focus will be starting on Monday. We recognize that the level of sidewalk clearing that we have accomplished does not meet A, the standard that we have set here in the village and that we've been able to accomplish in prior events. And B, we also recognize that it is not consistent with the village's local law in regard to clearance of sidewalks within 48 hours following an event. Although we have continued to remind residents of our local law and of the importance and the neighborliness of clearing sidewalks, we recognize that we're still working at it, and we encourage residents to do the same. So we are not at this time actively enforcing that code provision. We certainly, again, urge our residents to take steps to bring in resources if they cannot personally do it themselves to address spans of sidewalk adjacent to their properties. But at this time, we do not feel that it's a appropriate or neighborly thing for us to actively enforce our code provision related to sidewalk clearing within 48 hours following a snow event. So that's a general overview of where we are and what our plan of action has been this week and will be for the week ahead, and happy to answer any board questions regarding that.
I want to start by saying we are so appreciative of the incredibly hard work that Public Works has been doing on this. I mean, I've seen them. It's brutal, and they've been working so hard every single day. So I really appreciate it. And we're in way better shape than so many other places. I had to go to DC and I had to get out of my Uber and walk 2 blocks because nothing was cleared and there were cars all over the place. So, you know, it's easy to complain, and I'm just raising my hand and saying I'm not complaining at all. I'm so appreciative of the hard work and you pulling it all together. And I agree that this is not the time to be scolding everybody. I mean, my car is stuck in concrete and I'm not sure when I'll get it out. I'm really glad that nobody is scolding me about it. It's, you know, it's off to the side. It's not in the way of anything, but I can't get it out right now. So my sidewalks are clean. But anyway, that was my 2 cents.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Shane Saul here. I was downtown yesterday too, and I I second what Alyssa has just said. This is a terribly difficult snow to remove. We thank the staff so much for everything that they've done, and we're in a really good place here compared to where other jurisdictions are right now.
Thank you. Really appreciate that. And I will certainly pass that along to our crews as well. Thank you.
I think we can discuss this later, but this is a time that we would think about crew bonus, obviously, for this incredibly hard work that's been really brutal. Anyway.
Yeah, it really has been. And I will just say, I mean, as the board knows, I've been here with the village over 25 years. Many of the guys on our crew have been here for 20, 25 years plus, and they have all remarked they have never seen anything like this. They have never had as challenging, even in Snowmageddon. You know, the crews we have now, minus 2 people, were here for Snowmageddon, and they would take Snowmageddon twice over. Over what we've got out there right now. We're equipped to deal with snow and high volumes of it. The amount of ice that is on top of the snow, that is what has made this so particularly challenging. So thank you for putting that placeholder there, Ms. Leonard, and certainly I'll be following back up with the board about that in due course. Thank you. So unless there are any other questions regarding the winter storm cleanup and response, I will take us over to the final slide.
Gary.
I move to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Bye, everybody. Great to see you.
Thank you all. Appreciate your time. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Be safe.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Shayna?